Good evening. You're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. The Ministry of Labour announces the creation of 60,000 jobs this year across all sectors. With over 370 million Omani Riyals, new investments are attracted to Sohar port and free zone, and 72 million metric tons are handled in total by the end of last year. The Sultanate of Oman condemns the terrorist bombing in the Afghan capital Kabul, which resulted in a number of deaths and injuries. And Israeli air fire kills 11 Palestinians, including 2 boys and 3 journalists in Gaza. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. His Highness Sayyid Asad bin Tariq Al Saeed, Deputy Prime Minister for International Relations and Cooperation and Special Representative of His Majesty the Sultan, affirmed the annual Al-Bashir Camel Racing Festival, which will commence on February 2nd, enjoys the support of His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq, who gives camel racing his utmost care and attention, as it represents an Omani heritage cherished by forefathers and followed by their descendants, preserving the purebred Omani camels, and remain renowned for their participation both within and outside the Sultanate of Oman. His Highness added in a statement to the Oman News Agency that Al-Bashir Festival comes in support of the races held by the Royal Camel Corps and the Omani Camel Racing Federation, and represents a sporting, social and economic event that brings together camel owners and trainers from various governorates of the Sultanate of Oman and the Gulf Cooperation Council countries, noting that this annual event is held in the belief in its importance in preserving this Omani heritage and strengthening the bonds of friendship and love among segments of society. The Ministry of Labour announced the creation of 60,000 jobs this year across all sectors, reaffirming its focus on future labour markets priorities and human capital development aligned with the national vision and sustainable development goals. More details in the coming report.
The 11th five-year development plan covering 2026 to 2030 includes 17 strategic programs aligned with future labour market trends. This was highlighted during the Ministry of Labour's media briefing, which reviewed key achievements and initiatives and outlined future directions for the labour sector and human capital development in line with the national vision and the sustainable development goals. The Ministry of Labour is aiming to create 60,000 job opportunities this year, 10,000 in the public sector, 33,000 in the private sector, and 17,000 through national training and upskilling programs. On employment governance, the ministry said 18 sectoral committees have announced the availability of 13,000 jobs. Within the freelance ecosystem, more than 2,300 professions have been registered, alongside the Omanization of over 4,000 technical and leadership roles. According to official figures, the number of establishments registered under the wages protection system has exceeded 141,000. As for the institutional excellence framework, it has been implemented across 67 government entities, with compliance performance improving to 95%. The ministry also reported the launch of more than 150 innovation and development initiatives, in addition to nearly 40 projects linked to the National Vocational Training Development Framework.
Sohar Port and Free Zone has emerged as a key gateway for imports and exports in the Sultanate of Oman. Here's a report.
Since 2019, Sohar Port and Free Zone have recorded growth in line with Oman's economic transformation initiatives. The total handling volume reached 72 million metric tons annually by the end of last year, and the port welcomed over 3,420 ships, driven by increased trade activity, the integration of supply chain within global frameworks, and heightened confidence from international shipping lines and industrial operators. Last year, Sohar Port and Free Zone successfully attracted new investments exceeding 370 million Omani Riyals through 8 different agreements, including the leasing of 76 hectares of land. This solidifies its position as one of the prominent national operational models embodying economic transformation on the ground through an integrated system that connects trade, industry and investments within a highly competitive environment. It also enhances logistical connectivity, increases the competitiveness of the supply chains, supports economic diversification, and maximizes added value by localizing production chains and developing local content. With more than 20 years since its operation, Sohar Port and Free Zone has become one of the main gateways for imports and exports in the Sultanate of Oman, contributing 2.6% to the GDP, reflecting its growing role as a major logistical hub at both regional and international levels.
The Sultanate of Oman expressed its condemnation of the terrorist bombing in the Afghan capital, Kabul, which resulted in the deaths and injuries of a number of Afghan and Chinese citizens. The Sultanate of Oman conveyed its sincere condolences and heartfelt sympathy to Afghanistan and the People's Republic of China, and to the families of the victims, wishing a speedy recovery to the injured. In a statement, the Foreign Ministry affirmed the Sultanate of Oman's firm stance against all forms of violence and terrorism, regardless of their motives or causes. A national platform bringing together executive, academic and decision-making leaders has been launched through the 4th edition of the Ijad Leaders Forum, focusing on strengthening private sector participation in financing scientific research and innovation. The forum provides a structured space for dialogue and knowledge exchange, highlighting the role of the industry in steering research towards national development priorities and knowledge-based economy. As part of efforts to enhance institutional sustainability, the forum witnessed the launch of the national database Mudidat platform for research equipment and facilitate aimed at regulating and facilitating access across government, academic and industrial institutions alongside membership agreements with major national companies. The opening ceremony was held under the patronage of Dr. Saif bin Ali Al-Hadabi, Chairman of the Research and Innovation Authority. Still to come in our news bulletin. Nizwa Magazine renews its cultural vision, building on 3 decades of influence. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. And now for the international world. Israeli fire killed 11 Palestinians today, including 2 boys and 3 journalists in Gaza, local medics said. In the latest violence disrupting a brittle 3-month-old ceasefire, Palestinian health officials said an Israeli airstrike killed 3 Palestinian journalists traveling in a car in central Gaza Strip. The 3 were on an assignment sponsored by the Egyptian committee, which supervises Egypt's relief work in Gaza, to firm tent encampment built by Egypt for displacement Palestinians other local journalists told Reuters. An Egyptian security source confirmed the vehicle belonged to the committee but gave no further details. The Israeli military did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Israel and Hamas have traded blame for multiple breaches of the October truce after 2 years of war that devastated Gaza and caused a humanitarian disaster, and remain at odds over next steps in U.S. President Donald Trump's 20-point peace plan. Two Lebanese citizens were killed in an Israeli airstrike that targeted their car in southern Lebanon. Ambulance crews immediately rushed to the scene of the attack, which was carried out by an Israeli drone. It is worth noting that Israel has not adhered to the terms of the cessation of hostilities agreement with Lebanon, which came into effect on November 27, 2014. Israeli forces continue to conduct bulldozing and demolition operations and launch of almost daily airstrikes in southern Lebanon. They also maintain a presence at several locations in the south. The United Nations warned against a repeat of violations witnessed during the attack on al-Fashar in the besieged cities of Kadugli and Diling in southern Kordofan state. The spokesperson of the UN High Commission for Human Rights stated that the horrific violations and attacks committed during the attack on al-Fashar must not be repeated under the circumstances. He emphasized that the Al-Afad camp for internally displaced persons, housing approximately 20,000 people, was subjected to significant attacks during the assault. He also stressed the need for all parties to the conflict in Sudan to adhere to international human rights law and international humanitarian law, including curbing such violations and abuses and holding those responsible to account. Steve Witkoff, U.S. President Donald Trump's special envoy, confirmed that he will meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Moscow tomorrow to discuss ways to achieve peace between Russia and Ukraine. Representatives from Russia and the United States have previously discussed bilateral relations and ways to reach a peaceful settlement to the Russian-Ukrainian conflict on the sidelines of the World Economic Forum in Davos. Both sides described the meeting as very positive without making further statements. On the ground, Ukraine confirmed that 3 people were killed and others injured in a Russian drone strike on the Ukrainian city of Zaporizhia. The attack also caused a fire in a building and cut power to approximately 1,500 homes in the area. The main committee for the traffic safety competition reviewed the preparations for launching the 4th edition of the competition and discussed ways to develop it during its first meeting of the year. The readiness of the competition's platform and smartphone application was also discussed. The competition is organized within the Royal Oman Police's framework of strengthening institutional and committee partnerships and engaging government institutions, civil society organizations and the private sector in raising traffic awareness and achieving the highest levels of road safety. The meeting was chaired by Major General Abdullah bin Ali Al-Harthi, Assistant Inspector General of Police and Customs for Operations. In cooperation with the Ministry of Information, Nizwa Magazine brings culture to the forefront, launching a workshop that examines content development, visual identity and the sustainability of one of Arab world's leading cultural publications. More details in the following report.
With an eye on the future of cultural media, Nizwa Magazine gathered thinkers and academics in Muscat to rethink content design and vision through a focused workshop on renewal and sustainability, the event of which has been organized in cooperation with the Ministry of Information. The workshop opened an in-depth discussion on the evolving role of cultural magazines in a rapidly changing intellectual and media landscape.
After more than 30 years since the founding of Nizwa Magazine, this event comes as a moment to reflect the magazine's future on ways to develop its culture, identity and themes so that it keeps pace with transformation of the present and the questions of a new era.
Participants reviewed Nizwa Magazine's journey spanning more than 3 decades, highlighting its contribution to Arab cultural discourse since its launch in 1994.
What makes this workshop significant is that it does not celebrate the past for its own sake, but asks serious questions about sustainability, relevance, and the future role of the cultural institutions in a rapidly changing media environment.
Discussions centered on sustainability, renewal and adaptation, emphasizing the need to continuously develop editorial tools, artistic presentation and engagement with new generations of readers and creators.
This workshop highlights the development of Nizwa Magazine in both content and visual identity, bringing together researchers, academics and university students with a shared interest in culture. And I'm very pleased as a student from Sultan Qaboos University to be among the participants in this workshop.
The workshop also sought to strengthen dialogue between writers, researchers, artists and students, exploring future pathways that ensure the magazine remains a dynamic, influential cultural platform. Nizwa Magazine continues to renew its vision, affirming that cultural sustainability is built on openness, adaptation and constant engagement with change. Abdullah bin Ahmed al-Rubi'i, Sultanate of Oman Television, Muscat.
The University of Technology and Applied Sciences inaugurated today the second annual student-led Startups Forum at the Oman Convention and Exhibition Center to promote innovation, sustainable partnerships and entrepreneurship education. Here's more on this report.
From student ideas developed on campus to projects aiming for real market impact, innovation took a practical turn at the Oman Convention and Exhibition Center, where the second annual Student-Led Startups Forum, organized by the University of Technology and Applied Sciences, brought student entrepreneurs face-to-face with investors and decision makers.
This forum, its primary focus is to bring all the entrepreneurs and the founders together under one umbrella to showcase their ideas and their entrepreneurial ventures and to connect them with industry partners and with our different ecosystem players to kind of engage with them and allow them to understand the ideas that can stem from universities and the ideas that students can come up with.
More than 30 student-led startup companies are participating in the forum, taking a first step into the business world by marketing their products, receiving professional feedback, and exploring partnerships that support long-term growth and investment.
We specialize in aquaponic. We sell indoor aquaponic systems. People used this type of growing thousands of years ago, but people kind of forgot about it. So we reintroduce it in a easy way for people to adapt. We got really valid feedback for our company, and also we met with our potential customers.
Our company name is EcoVita. We chose this name because eco means environment and vita is Latin word for life. Our product is about water filter. We use animal bone waste and coconut fiber and turn these materials into activated carbon. This activated carbon used to clean and purify the water. So throughout this event we had a chance to present our idea and build connections with other companies that can help us to grow.
How the idea started, is that we found a problem in society, which was lack of financial literacy and some problems with financial budgeting. So we made this application, which helps and specializes in budgeting and management of money. And what this participation means for us is that we gain more recognition and make connections with some other people.
The initiative reflects the university's effort to embed entrepreneurship into education in line with the objectives of Oman Vision 2040, which emphasize innovation, sustainability, and economic diversification. Here, student ideas move from the classroom to the market, shaping Oman's future economy through youth innovation. Reporting from Oman Convention and Exhibition Center, this is Saleh Bukhalfan Al-Rahbi, Muscat.
This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. The Ministry of Labour announces the creation of 60,000 jobs this year across all sectors. With over 370 million Omani riyals, new investments are attracted to Sohar port and free zone, and 72 million metric tons are handled in total by the end of last year. The Sultanate of Oman condemns the terrorist bombing in the Afghan capital, Kabul, which resulted in a number of deaths and injuries. And Israeli fire kills 11 Palestinians, including 2 boys and 3 journalists in Gaza. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the studios and the newsroom, it's good night and stay safe.